crew member PPE, socially distanced sun loungers, reduced capacity, and no more buffets, the world of cruising may never be the same following the global pandemic. While most cruise lines have released anticipated return to service dates, few have provided concrete details as to what exactly cruising will look like once the no-sail order is lifted. Well, all that changed this past week, as the first cruise line released details of onboard health and safety protocols that will be in place on the line's ships. Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line finally gave cruisers some insight into what cruising will look like when it resumes. While this cruise line only has 2 ships in its fleet, it's likely that major cruise lines will also implement similar protocols. This detailed plan had us questioning if this is what cruising will really look like once we resume sailing. I'm DB from EatSleepCruise.com, and in this video, we break down the news on these latest protocols to determine what life on board a cruise ship will be like after the global health crisis. While most of the major cruise lines have all pushed back their initial sailings to August 1st or beyond, Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line indicates it will resume sailing on the Grand Celebration as of July 25th. The ship operates 2-day sailing to the Bahamas, with the CDC restrictions set to expire in mid-July, and government officials in the Bahamas indicating tourism will resume in June. It is likely that the cruise line could begin these quick getaways as stated. First and foremost, Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line will limit the number of staterooms. Currently, the cruise line plans to sail at 60% capacity. In fact, the cruise line plans to close 2 passenger decks entirely to limit movement throughout the ship. This will increase guest-to-space ratios and encourage social distancing. We can see ships initially sailing at this reduced number, especially if avid travelers are skeptical about cruising so soon. However, with the cruise lines low on cash and sailing with much smaller fleets initially, it is yet to be seen what these brands will do if there is higher demand than expected for cruising. For embarkation, guests will complete online check-in and receive an assigned arrival time to reduce crowds at the terminal. While most cruise lines normally don't enforce this assigned boarding times, we certainly see this becoming the industry standard. So, make sure to do your self-check-in early to get an optimal embarkation time. Upon arrival, guests will be required to complete a temperature check and health declaration. We believe that such enhanced screenings will be the norm for at least the rest of 2020 and perhaps longer at all cruise terminals. Further, all terminal staff will be required to wear a mask and remain behind a plexiglass safety shield. Passenger luggage will also be sanitized before being delivered to your stateroom. In addition to stringent sanitation in the terminal, the cruise line is enforcing a strict protocol in place for guest accommodations and common areas on board the ship. All staterooms will be cleaned with hospital-grade disinfectants. There will also be fogging of vacant cabins and stateroom hallways regularly. Public areas will undergo a 2-tier sanitation process, including cleansing and fogging at varying frequencies throughout the day. Elevators will be sanitized every 2 hours, while frequently touched surfaces like handrails and door handles will be cleaned every hour. Since the ships in Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line's fleet are small and the itineraries are short, we see these enhanced protocols being feasible. While larger ships could certainly implement these changes too, it would certainly take more staff to accomplish. Even if the major brands announce similar sanitation protocols, will it be enough to make cruisers feel comfortable? Several steps will be taken throughout the ship to not only increase sanitation, but to promote social distancing. Theaters will be cleaned before and after every show with designated space between seats. The kids club, gym, spa, and other recreation spaces will also follow similar cleaning schedules. Further, casino tables and slots will be set up to promote social distancing. All shops, entertainment, and recreational venues will have a limited guest capacity of 50% to provide ample space between passengers. Shore excursion tour buses will also be limited to 50% capacity. It is unknown if changes will also be made to the pool deck or other open areas around the ship to ensure proper social distancing. How other public areas, such as the promenade, elevators, or bars on ships will enforce social distancing guidelines is also unclear. Will ships develop socially distant queues to enter venues, like those being set up in supermarkets and other establishments ashore? Even if there are markers or rules, will the cruise line have staff to enforce and maintain these protocols? We can see these elements being hard to enforce, especially at busy venues like the coffee shop, quick service style restaurants on megaships, guest services, and other venues. While other cruise lines have hinted at this, Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line confirms that there will be no self-service buffet stations. All food and beverage will be served by crew members wearing face masks, hats, aprons, and gloves. Further, tables and seating areas will be arranged to keep guests 6 feet apart from each other. All restaurants and bars will be sanitized 3 times a day as well. All frontline staff will be required to wear masks. All housekeeping and food and beverage crew will be required to wear both disposable gloves and masks. All crew members will need to practice social distancing and will be subjected to twice daily temperature checks. The silver lining in all of this is that each crew member will have his or her own cabin on board the ship. Perhaps the biggest health regulation that is not included in this plan is the requirement for cruisers to wear masks on the ship. There is no mention of whether this will be a requirement or not. Currently, many states in the US do not require individuals to wear masks. However, larger entertainment venues, such as Walt Disney World and Universal Studios, have recently included wearing masks mandatory, at least for now, as part of their reopening plans. Certainly, wearing a mask during cruise would take some of the fun and excitement out of the trip. Would you still cruise if you need to wear a mask? The onboard medical center will have isolation wards for any concerns surrounding exposure to COVID-19, and all medical waste will be disposed of per CDC guidelines. Lastly, the cruise line is implementing a fresh air ventilation system to ensure healthy air quality in all onboard cabins and common areas. Air on the ships will no longer be recirculated. The additional onboard cleaning and social distancing measures announced make sense, but are they practical and enforceable for an extended period of time? Plus, will cruisers self-regulate? Will issues arise with those trying to find seats at venues or waiting around for certain events with the social distancing protocols in place? Again, if we look to the amusement parks, many have canceled events that lead to crowding, like parades and fireworks. Many cruise lines also have activities, like parades or parties, where social distancing will be difficult to maintain. Will those events be canceled as well? If so, is the cruising experience so drastically altered that it's no longer fun or enjoyable? All of these changes raise serious questions about cruising will be like after the global pandemic. Many of these proposed changes, while they might be medically necessary, will be difficult to enforce. One thing is for sure, cruise lines will certainly need to increase staff and security to help ensure the first few cruises after the global health crisis are smooth sailing. And there you have it. That's what cruising might really look like following the global pandemic. But of course, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know in the comment section below if you would cruise following COVID-19 with these new enhanced health protocols. I'm DB from EatSleepCruise.com, and if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel or have been lurking around for a while and haven't done so, what are you waiting for? Make sure to subscribe down below and to click the notification icon. That way you get updated each week when we put out brand new cruise videos. You can also say hi to us all over social media at Eat Sleep Cruise, and thanks again for watching.